Jesus Christ, Murphy. Buddy, you're a heathen. You're a heathen. And just
There's one person.
hello, one person.
Murphy's just, you're just gonna stare at the side of Murphy the whole time.
Come here, buddy. Come here. Buddy.
He has his squirrel tie on.
He's dressed appropriately.
Very handsome.
Sir. Sir. He just likes to put his penis on the table. So he gets up here and puts his dick on the table.
In his defense, he can't really help it.
It's true.
Hi, Julie.
Get down, bud. He's like, no.
No, I will not. All right, well, you wait a bit.
Unhighlight.
Select all of that stuff.
It is unselected.
Okay.
You got it.
We started a little early, but Casey's here too.
Hi, Casey.
How y'all been?
You just.
I'm Murphy today.
To be fair, he has a really good life. There are worse things to be than Murphy. My phone. No, I think I put, when I put his new tie on him, I think I put his collar on like upside down because I had it where it would lay, but
might want to fix it or you'll dox yourself.
But that's not cool. Doxing your mom. Just okay, I was gonna try to do it like quickly and stealthily, but
not so much. I've never seen one like that.
I haven't either. So I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna put it on him wrong. You're naked. It's inappropriate. You're naked on the internet. Actually, if you want to be naked on the internet, that's totally fine. Just make some money off of it.
Yeah, you can only
make us some of that naked money, Murphy.
We're not making any money off this channel.
Yeah. I just watched an OnlyFans channel where it's like only Murphy. It was just him like being cute and like showing his dick off and stuff. But you guys all my staff.
Ruined it with the second part.
Sorry. He's very proud of it. He puts it on everything.
Got short little legs.
You can't help it. He's got a stubby little body, so yeah. He's looking at me like, Jesus Christ.
Trying to put me out, Mom.
Sorry, buddy. I'm trying to retire early. At this rate, I probably won't be able to retire at all. I need you making that only Murphy money. So unimpressed with my shit right now.
All right, well, how's everybody doing?
How y'all doing?
I guess we can start talking about what we've read. Murphy's listening very intently to everything I say. What we've read for if you got to read it so far.
So far, yeah.
And let us know, you guys. Anyone listening is participating. Let us know what you finished, which challenges you've done, what you read for them.
Mm-hmm.
You want to?
I don't think any of them were the ones I had picked.
Yeah, like they're not.
I was looking at what I'd read so far and looking at the challenges. And I read the one that I'm very proud of is challenge number 11. Read a book you've had so long you don't remember what it's about, because I was rearranging my bookshelves and I found this book and I was like, wonder what this is. When did I buy this? And I didn't remember it. So I read it, and it was The Deadlands by Benjamin Percy. And it was okay. I gave it like 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't like, there was some like potentially problematic shit in there, like maybe some kind of yucky like indigenous stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was, I mean, there's a lot going on in that story. It was like a post-apocalyptic dystopian adventure. There's magic in there. I mean, it was doing a lot.
Yeah.
Doing a lot.
I was gonna say, hi, Jocelyn.
Happy
Happy Friday.
Friday, y'all.
Yeah.
We made it through another week.
Yes. Just
Barely hanging on.
Yeah. I technically haven't really finished because I mean I could count some of the ones I read, but two of them I read on my Kindle, and I was gonna only count physical books because that's what I'm really trying to get down. I don't actually own that many Kindle books. And then the only physical book I owned that I read was Corpse Paint by David Peake, which I was actually reading in an attempt to finish up last year's challenge, which I could probably count it for something from this year's.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. It's probably going to be the kind of thing where I see how far I get and then count.
And then go back and count.
Go back and count other things. But I haven't read anything from my TBR, unfortunately. But hopefully this month. I did start Wuthering Heights, but I'm not very far in it. I've only read like 3 chapters.
Yeah.
So. Jocelyn's read 3 challenges.
Oh, what challenges did you read, Jocelyn?
And she read a new to me author, John Bowden, Jedi's Summer with the Magnetic Kid. Never heard of that.
Is that the title of the book? Because that's a cool title.
That's a cool title. John Bowden sounds kind of familiar, but I don't know. Desperately need outside now.
Oh, they're outside.
New Becky Chambers novella, is that the To Be Caught as Fortunate? Yeah, I know she has another one out yet. I know there's I can't. And predicted 5-star read Ring Shout. I've been seeing that one everywhere. Was it a 5-star read? This keeps getting real close to my face. The best line in the world is in Wuthering Heights. Someone calls someone else Devil Daddy. It's the best thing I've ever read. For some reason, I don't think I've gotten there yet, but I can't wait.
Oh my god, it kills me whenever someone says anything daddy.
Yeah, like leather daddy.
Oh my god, you said leather daddy one time and I lost it. Like, I don't know why I find that so fucking funny, but like, anything daddy, I'm tickled.
I have a book called Daddy on my TBR.
So, yeah. Absolutely so good. Cosmic horror with badass female lead. Nice.
I'm gonna check that one out.
That sounds cool. I mean, that description kind of sells me.
Yeah. Dark and weird. I don't know if you guys heard that or not.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah. I read The Only Good Indians on my Kindle, and I really enjoyed that one. But yeah, I could count it for probably 1 or 2 of the challenges, but I'm just gonna see how it goes. I'd rather count my physical books.
My neighbor was going in the garage.
How dare they?
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else did you read, Megan? Since I don't have much to say because I didn't really.
I am trying. So I don't do well with like TBRs really because I am an asshole. And anytime I have to set up structure, even like if I set structure up for myself, I'm like, yeah. So I set up TBR. Like, you should like set a TBR and just put books that you really don't want to read. Maybe. Like, so yeah, like, it's not my TBR for this, and then most of the stuff I've read isn't even on it because I'm like, I'm just gonna read what I want.
Yeah.
But I also read a borrowed book because I borrowed Riot Baby from you, by Tochi Onyebuchi, And that was really good. It took me a second to orient myself because I don't know if I was just like,
it's really fast paced. It's very short and it covers a long span of time.
I think that's what it was. And I also think part of it, like my interpretation, because I focused too much on it being about the Rodney King riots. I was thinking like the whole thing was going to be set in that, but then it really like it does span a long period of time. Like there's a lot going on, but it was a really cool book. Yeah, I really dug it. It was very fast paced, and just kind of like unexpectedly awesome because there's a character in it that can do just like really cool shit. So that was
just like the ending of that just blew my mind.
Yeah, the ending, it made me just want to be like, fuck yeah, where do I sign up? Into it. It was a good ending. It was pretty powerful. It.
Yeah, I need to read more Stephen Graham Jones because I really liked The Only Good Indians. I always get his name mixed up with Seth Graham Smith, who wrote like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies and stuff like that. And so I'll like mix their names together and say like Seth Graham Jones, no. Stephen Graham Smith, no. Yeah. Hi, Leanna. What else did you read?
Keep going. I read The Witches Are Coming by Lindy West. And I counted that for challenge number 3, which is read a book that's not a typical novel. I fucking love that book. I gave it 5 stars, and it's basically about like feminism and challenging sexist ideas in our society. And it's basically about like how conservative dickwads will say that there's like a witch hunt for them. And she's like, never really considered it that way since, the original term was coined to refer to like women being murdered for being different. So she's like, but okay, whatever. The witches are coming and they're hunting you. And so I was like, all right.
Yeah, I want to read that. I read Shrill several years ago at this point, I think 3 or 4 years ago probably. And I really loved it.
Lindy West is like really fucking funny. I laughed out loud during some points, but like she also can turn a phrase. Like some of her sentences were just so like smartly put together and just like I don't know, like I was just really impressed with the wordplay. Like she can fucking turn a phrase.
Yeah.
So I dug it.
Also, if y'all haven't watched the show, I recommend that too on Hulu. It's like very loosely based on
her life.
On the list.
I think it's Edie Bryant in it, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hello, Mel. Oh, it's moving.
I'm gonna lean in weird. Leanna said that they've finished 1 book thus far. Underhyped book. What did you read for that?
Groaning at his food bowl again.
So fun new thing that he does, where if the food doesn't look the way he wants it to look, he whines at the bowl until I shake it, and then he will eat it.
Yeah, he's getting very curmudgeonly in his old age. Hi, Gary. You've completed 8 challenges. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Are you in Ireland? What time is it there?
Yeah. I just didn't even think about that. You're killing it so far.
What's been your favorite one?
Yeah. Yes, you can see the bottom. He's like a cat. He's like a cat.
I can see the bottom of my bowl, therefore it is empty.
This is problem.
Please send help.
We'll starve to death. Please help. Lord. Mel says, I have been doing the challenge, but I've not made a specific TBR because a lot of my TBR game prompts fit in. Oh, that's cool. I like it when it can be like cross-purpose.
Yeah, we hoped that this could combine with a lot of stuff. We kind of tried to make the challenges fairly general so that they would fit everyone's shelves. But yeah, and like we've always said, if something doesn't fit your shelves, just change it. We don't care if you change the challenges.
Nah. Do what you got to do. 1 a.m.
1 a.m.
Gary.
That's not too bad.
I'm old. Last time I was up until 1 a.m. I don't.
I don't know what my deal's been this week, but I was up past 1 for like 2 different days this week, which is probably why I've been tired. Murphy's ridiculous.
He also doesn't like the metal bowl because his tag clings on it. Oh yeah, see, now but he has to be high enough in the plastic one because he doesn't want to put his face too far in it.
I also, because my dog recently had like neck issues, because he guess that's common and he's getting kind of older, so he's starting to get like some arthritis in his neck. And it's like I was reading up about it, and it said to like get a raised bowl so that he doesn't have to bend
his neck
down. So I
wonder if I should do that for Murphy. Maybe he would stop it.
Yeah,
with the whining.
Maybe. Right now, I just put a box under his bowl.
It raises it. Serves a purpose.
Yeah,
and it's cheap.
On the Shadows by Paula Allen Gunn. Never heard of it.
I've never heard of that.
Must be underhyped.
Must be. What was it about? Also, Mel said that they have read a book by an author that they hadn't read yet and had a one-word title. That's Boss.
Nice.
Very cool. Julie feels me about the mood reading. Haven't set a specific TBR. Yeah, I think that's part of my thing too, because like I kind of have to go with the flow, like with my moods to be successful with stuff like that. Yeah. So like,
see, I'm like, I mean, I think mood reading is I read more that way, but if I set a TBR, I will often like force myself to read it.
You're way more,
because I feel like I've failed if I haven't.
Well, you're way more like disciplined with stuff like that than I am. Like we'll set something and you'll do it, and I'll just be like, let's just do whatever we want. You're way more disciplined than I am. Yeah, I just
like if I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it, or I feel like one, I feel like I've failed, and two, I feel like I've like let everyone down.
Oh. Yeah. It depends on what it is. Like, it depends on if it's something I said I was going to do for me. I don't care. Yeah. But if it's something I said I was going to do for other people, if it's something important, then I care. If it's not important, then
yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. But I did read, I mean, I guess I can just talk about the books I've read.
Yeah,
so that's something to talk about.
Do it.
I already talked about them in our wrap up though, so I feel like I'm just repeating myself. But
well, what are you like currently reading right now?
I'm kind of in the middle. Well, I did just finish an audiobook, and it was called Written in the Stars by Alexandria Bellefleur, I think. But I really liked it. It was a romance novel, and I thought it was cute. And
I know you had like a romance slump for a while where your romances were like real mediocre. Was this one better?
Oh yeah, this one was. I enjoyed it. It was a 4-star romance for me, so that's good. And then I'm still working on King Leopold's Ghost. I started How Long Till Black Future Month by N.K. Jemisin, which is a short story collection. And I've started Wuthering Heights. And I think that's all I love.
It's going to be interesting because our book club is reading
Everfair,
which is about the events that you're reading about.
I saw that because I had already opened Everfair by Nisi Shaw on my Kindle, and like the opening is like saying that it's inspired by those events, and I was like, oh, that's perfect. So I can hopefully finish King Leopold's Ghost and then read Everfair.
Yeah, I thought about that because I opened it on my Kindle too and I was reading that. I was like, oh, this would be cool for Sue because like you'll have a background knowledge of like those actual events.
Yeah.
And this is like
King Leopold's Ghost, man, though, like I may be about a third of the way through it, and like it pisses me off. Yeah, it's pretty awful. I mean, awful. It's a good book, but the events
are
awful.
Casey says, favorite quote that I feel describes me most. I don't take orders. I really take suggestions. I feel that deep in my soul. Leanna said that their book is described as the first novel about a Native American woman by a Native American woman in 50 years.
Oh, wow.
That sounds cool. Mel said they read two different books, Crescent City by Sarah J. Maas and Hollowpox by Jessica Townsend. They're both fantasy, which is my most read genre. So can I double up and say I did that challenge too? Fuck yeah, do it. Hell yeah, do what you gotta do. That's awesome. I have a hard time, like, maybe you can help me. Google could help me, and so I guess I'm asking you to do the work of a simple Google search here, but like, what is high fantasy? I've never really understood that.
Oh, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think high fantasy is it's like Lord of the Rings, where it's like elves and.
So what is not high fantasy?
Not high fantasy would be things like urban fantasy.
Okay. Is steampunk stuff, is that like fantasy stuff?
I think it depends. Maybe. There's like a lot of crossover between sci-fi and fantasy, so I don't know. I feel like it's kind of hard to define exactly what it is, but
I'm very intrigued by fantasy as a genre, but I find that like I'm a little bit picky or weird about what fantasy books I've liked and which ones I'm like, meh. So I guess I probably just need to try a few more.
Yeah. I mean, like the Broken Earth trilogy would be fantasy.
Okay, well, fuck, I've done that. It's good as hell. Okay. Whatever kind of fantasy that is.
You know, it's also kind of sci-fi.
Right.
It's a little of both, I would say, in that case.
Okay, I got you.
But I'm trying to think of something else.
You have a hard time defining.
Like urban fantasy would be like Neil Gaiman, like Neverwhere.
Okay.
Neil Gaiman, I think, would be an urban fantasy. Again, someone can please correct me if I'm wrong. Somebody just be pulling this.
I wouldn't know. I feel like, okay, sounds great.
But my understanding is that urban fantasy is kind of set more in like present times, but has like magic and stuff like that in it. And then high fantasy is more the like sort of medieval type.
Right? Okay, like kings and elves and
yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Maybe I don't like high fantasy. I always thought I did. Maybe I don't. Maybe I like other kind of fantasy.
Oh, Becky said she thought high fantasy had to do with world building also. Yeah, that could be true, because something like that's a really intricate world, like Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth,
which I do like. Right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I could be totally wrong.
I need to read more fantasy.
Okay, Mel says high fantasy is set not in our world and features magic. Lord of the Rings is classic.
Okay. Thank you guys for that, because yeah.
Okay, so urban fantasy would be set in our world, I think.
Right. So like,
it might specifically be set in cities. So I feel like also the city we became.
I was just going to say that it's like urban fantasy. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I think there's probably other subgenres of fantasy too. I don't know.
That's cool.
So urban fantasy is our world.
Okay. That's cool. So Jules says that they've read 10 books so far, but have only put 2 on this challenge. Bluebird for borrowed book, and Girl in the Tower for most recent purchase.
Don't think I know either of those.
I don't think I do either.
High fantasy based on medieval or Norse mythology traditionally. Okay.
I'm learning so many things now. Thank you. It's been very educational.
Yeah.
And way more fun than just Googling it. So thanks.
Yeah, because I always kind of think that I don't care for fantasy that much, but I don't know. I think I do. I just don't read a lot of like high fantasy. Although I do like high fantasy that I've read. I think it's just
Yeah.
kind of it's often more of like a commitment.
Yeah, because I feel like those high fantasy books are long or like series or,
Yeah.
so.
Like Wheel of Time. I've always been intrigued by that, but I've never read it because it's just it's such a huge series. Urban fantasy is like hunters that a fantastic or paranormal element. I've not read Shadowhunters.
Casey is not a high fantasy human, but often likes urban fantasy. The City We Became is your first N.K. Jemisin. That's exciting.
Yeah, I love N.K. Jemisin.
Yeah, N.K. Jemisin is boss. Hi, Mindy. Welcome. Yeah, and I want to read more N.K. Jemisin just because I fucking love her writing. So good.
Yeah, I think I have like everything she's written at this point. I haven't read it all yet, but
Okay.
I got the King, what's that trilogy called?
Oh shit, I know what you're talking about. I think I have it on my Kindle.
I think it's her first novel, the first one at least.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about because I think I bought
it on Kindle.
But
and then I also have her other, there's like a duology she did. That again, I can't remember the name.
Well,
the one that's the two that aren't the Broken Earth series. I have them both, but I haven't read them yet. But I wanted to read How Long Till Black Future Month first because I guess that one of the short stories in it is a prequel to that duology.
Okay, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I wanted to buy physical copies of the other series that I got on Kindle. But I can only find it in like this huge bind up.
Weird.
And I don't want that.
Don't want it. No. Jewel said that they realized they could add 2 more. New author, Mickey Kendall for hood feminism and nonfiction. Simply Living Well, lots of ideas for reducing waste and less toxic products. I might want to check that out. One of my goals for this year is to reduce my waste. And I also am trying to just become more like self-sufficient. Like I want to grow more of my own food. I want to, because my dream is just to go live on a homestead somewhere and like never need anything from anyone. It's my goal.
The Inheritance trilogy.
Yes.
What I
Okay.
was thinking of. But yeah, I've only seen it in like this huge ass bind up.
Oh.
I'm like, why don't they sell them separately?
I
don't understand. That's why I got it on Kindle because I was like, I don't want to read a giant ass
bind up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I read the Lilith Brood series. I just had it in a bind up and I want all of the books individually.
Yeah, well that one doesn't bother me as much because the books are short, so it's not that big. Like this bind up is fucking huge.
I want separate.
Yeah, I get that too.
I don't really have a reason for that. Like I don't have a rational reason for that. I just don't like them. Mindy has finished 3 challenges so far. What have you finished, Mindy? What have you read? And then Jewel also read Parable of the Talents, but doesn't think that it fits into this challenge for them. What did you think of Parable of the Talents? Just curious. I reread it last year because I wanted to lean into the like apocalyptic horror show that was happening. And so I just because I was like, Queen Octavia will have wisdom for me. And yeah, it was maybe not the best choice I've ever made to reread that in 2020, but like I don't regret it.
Yeah. It's probably non-European based high fantasy that would still fit the brief of based on myths set in another world features magic over science, heavily focused on world building. Yeah, I'm sure there is, but that's interesting. Like I couldn't think of one off the top of my head. It is Robin Hobb's book set. Is she British or is she European? I've always wanted to read her, but again, it just seems like a a large
commitment.
undertaking. No, I'm good, thanks. She's from California, so maybe it's American based at least. I'm sure there's.
We're crazy.
Black Leopard, Red Wolf. I kind of want to read that. I've heard mixed things, but I do. I read A Brief History of Seven Killings a few years ago, and I really loved it. So I would like to read more of his stuff.
Yeah, I remember you really liking that.
Mm-hmm.
The Murderbot Diaries is what Leanna is recommending to their reader friends at the moment. Series of novellas with one full novel, sarcastic robots abound. That sounds boss.
Is that by Mary something? Is that what I'm thinking of? Because I feel like I keep hearing about that, and it always intrigues me because it's called Murderbot.
Super fun.
Sounds great.
Sounds awesome. Sign me up.
Children of Blood and Bone, high fantasy, and his African led base.
I've heard of that, and I would like to read it. Is it YA?
I think it is.
Yeah, which I think I don't dislike YA. I think I'm just a little picky about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would like that. It sounds really cool.
Yeah.
My nibbling also had recommended a sci-fi, I think it is sci-fi. It's a YA series that they really love. Let's see what it is. We were going to do a book trade so that they could read some of the books I recommended to them, and I could read some of the books they recommended to me.
Where did it go? The Broken Earth trilogy is a mashup of sci-fi and high fantasy. Yeah, I think that would be true. Mindy Red's in the Dark by Laurel Hightower. Evicted, Poverty and Profit in the American City by Matthew Desmond. And The Black Prison by Brent Weeks. I don't think I've heard of any of those.
Mm-mm. Nor I.
What did you think of them?
And yeah, what was your favorite of those?
SueCee read some Tananarive Dew or started some.
Man, I have not heard of Devil's Wake. I fucking love Tananarive Dew though. I read The Between by Tananarive Dew last month. It was last month, wasn't it? And shit, man. Just like
Martha Love.
But no, Tananarive Dew writes some haunting, it's both intellectually and emotionally stimulating. In all of the books or stories of hers that I've read, I'm kind of emotionally wrecked, but also intrigued. The stories are really I don't know, man. She's just good. Definitely a new favorite author of mine, for sure. So my nibbling had recommended, let me know if any of you guys have this trilogy, but they recommended the Monument 14 trilogy, which I guess is YA. They said they read them faster than anything they've ever read before. So
I don't think I've heard of that.
I'd never heard of it. So.
Children of Blood and Bone is YA, but it's intense.
I'm down for intense.
Mindy's favorite was Whispers in the Dark. Or a novel with the best strong male character.
You guys are giving me lots of things I want to read now. You guys are reading cool shit. Sorry, I just spaced out for a second.
Yeah, I just borrowed Ghost Summer by Tannery 2 from Megan, so I'm hoping to read that soon.
Oh God, Ghost Summer is a really good primer for Tananarive Dew. So if you haven't read anything by her yet, I think her pronouns are she, her. But anyway, I think if you haven't read it yet, I would start there because I think it's a really good sampling. And there's a little bit of something for everybody in there. You know, you got some zombies, you got some
Ghosts, actual ghosts.
yeah. So like it's a really great, it's a really strong short story collection. There was not a dud in the bunch, in my opinion.
I have not heard of Laurel Hightower. I'll have to check them out. Yeah, I'll have to. So I think the year of short stories for me.
I don't know. Because kind of like what I said about Tanner Review, I like that you get a sampling of someone's work. And I like the my attention span sometimes is not awesome. So as illustrator. So it's nice to like read a story and then move on to the next one for me. Like I like that. And yes, Mel, it's Ghost Summer by Tanner Review. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm hoping to read. I want to read some more Noel Hopkinson this year because I really loved Midnight Robber. So I have Brown Girl in the Ring on my TBR. I might try to get to that one this month, but we'll see. I have quite a few other things I need to finish up, and
you got a lot going on.
I got a lot started, but I think Wuthering Heights will be a very slow read for me. But I kind of like it so far. I'm only like 3 chapters in, which is not very far, but I kind of was like, I mean, Heathcliff's an asshole, but I was also like, this dude just showed up at his house in the middle of a snowstorm. Like, I'd be annoyed too.
I'd be an asshole too.
Yeah, and the guy's like, you have to either let me stay the night or give me an escort home. And Heathcliff's like, not my problem, bro.
Build you an igloo. I don't give a shit.
No. In the middle of a snowstorm, dumbass.
If you don't call first, I'm not letting you in. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I saw a doormat. This is like a sidebar, but I saw like a doormat that said, "Did you call first?" And I really wanted to get it because I hate unexpected visitors. I hate it. Not that I get very many of them because all my friends are introverts for the most part. Well, Corey's not.
Yeah.
But she would never just show up here because she's considerate.
Right.
I saw that someone is reading the good Mouthful of Pain. Full of pain. That's like a brutal like metal name. Just started The Good House. It is so good. That's one of those that was mentally stimulating but also emotionally devastating. So brace yourself because you're in for a ride.
Good luck.
Have fun.
Do you read multiple books at a time or one book at a time? I usually read just one, maybe 2 at a time, but right now I started things and then
you're just
had other things to read because I had to read the book club books, and I usually have an audiobook going too for when I like am cleaning and
you're deep in it.
Stuff like that. So I ended up with a lot, like in the middle of a lot right now, but I usually don't do that.
I also usually don't do that. I might read like, if I do read more than one book at a time, they have to be very different or I mix them together in my head. So if I'm going to read 2 books at the same time, I like for them, like one of them to be nonfiction and one to be fiction.
Yeah.
But I do also have, sometimes I have an audiobook going. I do right now because I listen to audiobooks while I work. So I'm listening to the new Jim Crow right now, which I had started listening to before, and it like I got really pissed off and like had to take a break. But I'm back in it now, so I'm listening to it.
We read Gideon the Ninth. I have not. I've heard of it though. I don't know anything about it, but the title, I'm like, I've heard of that.
I've not heard of that. I have not, but I'm intrigued.
Wuthering Heights is a very polarizing book.
Really?
But I've heard people who love it, I think of it as a comedy.
Okay. Well, now you're making me kind of want to check it out. Like y'all are making me. Oh,
yeah.
Uh-oh. Thanks, Mediacom.
Are we still here? Can you guys hear us?
Can y'all hear us? Okay.
It seems better now, hopefully.
Sorry if that just glitched out for a second. Apparently my internet's being a wang. So
Do you like both parable books?
awesome. Yeah, it is scary how similar they were. And yeah, the Make America Great Again thing is
which Trump wasn't the first person to say that. I know Reagan said it.
Yeah, and then like did the whole trickle down economics things and fucked everything up. But whatever, Reagan.
And I don't know if anyone said it before him, but I mean, Trump was kind of. I mean, he made it his whole his whole platform was Make America Great Again. It's like when exactly? It's like.
Are you referring to the slavery, or are you referring to the genocide, the colonization? Like at what?
Yeah.
The like way
segregation,
misunderstanding the whole separation of church and state thing. Like what greatness are we referring to here?
Yeah.
The fact that like there's still a gender wage gap in 2021. Is that the greatness? Do you want to go back to when that was bigger? I don't know. Anyway, that's a tangent. Lesbian necromancers in space.
What is that referring to? Yeah.
Bring this pussy back from the dead, if you know what I'm saying. Sorry.
Oh, unstable connection again. Mindy always has 2 physical books, an ebook, and audiobook going at any given time. That's a lot. I don't know, because I don't know. I mean, would you read any faster that way? You're still reading the same amount. I mean, the audiobooks help, I think.
I think so.
But
yeah, like how would you read 100? I have a friend whose goal for this year is to read 100 books this year. Amy is trying to, yeah, and like she reads really fast. Like she should be very astounded. Anyway, yeah, I am. I am.
Yeah. How do you do that? I know, and I saw some people, which this was a debate, or one of the like Twitter. Twitter's a mess, y'all.
Twitter's a shit.
I mean, Twitter in general is kind of a fucking mess.
But,
like, Twitter has gotten pretty ridiculous the last year or two, I'd say. But some people were like bitching about people reading too many books in a year. Because I did see like a couple people say that they read like 400 books, and I'm like, how the fuck?
Whether you read 1 book a year or if you read 400, like not gonna shit on you for that, but like,
yeah. But I think the bad take someone had is that like if you read too many books, you're not really absorbing them all or thinking critically about them or whatever, and it's like. People read for different reasons and people read different ways. Like you don't, you don't
really know. I mean, you can't say what someone will or won't retain. And also like, it's really not your place to judge that anyway. Like who cares? It seems like a white dude take.
No, actually it was a woman.
Really?
Yeah. I don't remember.
Very Karen take.
But
very Karen take. Yeah, I think like if you're reading, I think that's boss. The same thing about like types of books. Like my partner just started reading again recently, and there's a certain author that he loves, and he's been devouring those, which I think is really cool. So like I think whenever you find something that's your jam, lean the fuck into it.
Yeah.
And like my little brother would only read the Captain Underpants books forever. We couldn't get him to read anything else, but like that was his jam, man.
Yeah. And also like like people read for different things. Some people just read for enjoyment, and I think that's fine. Because like sometimes I'm fucking tired from work and stuff, and I don't want to read anything super heavy. So
sometimes I just need some brain candy that's more stimulating than staring at a TV.
Yeah,
So like sometimes I want to read trash.
Jules said Wuthering Heights not my favorite. Yeah, I'm interested to see how I feel about it overall, because it is so polarizing.
Yeah, y'all are making me want to read it. Like I have accepted that I don't like classics. For a long time I tried to pretend like I like classics, and I wanted to like classics. I don't like them. So I don't know if I will or won't, but like y'all talking about drama and the funniness, now I want to read it.
Yeah. I kind of feel like a pretentious asshole because I do like classics, and I also like people like David Foster Wallace. I hate that about me.
Well, I mean, I read Game of Thrones, so there's that.
I usually got an audiobook, couple of physical books, and ebooks going because I have a super short attention span. Yeah, I could get that too.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's like a book that you want to read, but it's kind of like a slow read, or it's kind of putting you in a slump or something, even if it's something you still want to finish, it's nice to like take your break and have something else a little bit lighter or quicker to read.
To go back to. Well, and if I'm reading a book for like personal growth or something and it's really challenging, I'll read like a chapter or two of it and then like want to put it down so I fit for a little bit and then I'll read something else. So like I can see reading more than one book at a time. But some of y'all, that's an impressive number of things going on. I'm impressed.
Yeah, sometimes it can feel, for me at least, if I have a lot of things going, it feels like I'm not getting anything done because I'm like in the middle of so many books and not finishing it.
And that's kind of the story of my life anyway. Like that's how I am with everything. So yeah, I feel the same way you do. Like I just don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything.
Yeah. Yep, get burnt out after reading a couple chapters unless I keep switching back and forth.
That's solid.
Yeah, I think it can take a little bit to get into a book too, or to like sort of get acclimated to the author's writing style and stuff. To like, sometimes it takes me a while to read the first few chapters of a book, but then like once I'm into it, I finish it really picks up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And that's why I hate DNFing books because I feel like if I could just get into it, like if I can just get through that first chunk, then I'd be all right. But yeah, there was a point to that beyond what I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, what's your guys' opinion on like rating and reviewing books you've DNF'd?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Because my opinion may or may not be controversial. I don't know. Right. You shouldn't rate. You can maybe give a review saying I DNF'd this because of this, but I don't think you can rate a book you haven't finished.
Same.
Unless it's maybe a case where it was like just extremely offensive or something.
Yeah.
And you were like, but I've also heard of cases where like people start a book, think it's offensive, don't finish it when it turns out like that was part of the character's journey or whatever.
Like their development.
Yeah,
right.
They learned and grew throughout. So
no, I share your opinion. I think you can maybe say like I DNF'd it and here's why, but I don't think you can like rate it.
Because you can't give it a rating if you haven't finished it.
Yeah.
And I guess you can do whatever you want, but I just feel like it's not fair, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm just I usually with the Only Good Indians, there was like dog death in there that like I'm such a sissy about animal death. I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah.
And then what was that one by John Connolly? It was like a collection of stories.
Oh yeah, Nocturnes or something.
Yeah, Nocturne. I DNF'd because it was incredibly problematic. Like the first story in it was so problematic. I tabbed it, everything that was problematic, and like there's a shit ton of tabs in the book.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to continue with this because if this is how he's going to write women and people of color and stuff into his stories, like that's shitty, and I don't want to give this any more time. So
yeah, I read a book by him and I was not impressed with it either. Yeah, Mindy said I don't read books. I DNF. I just put them on a DNF list on my Goodreads. That's what I do too. Although, like, I find Goodreads is
a hot mess disaster.
Don't get me started on Goodreads. But every time I go to DNF a book, I always have to like refigure out how to add it to my DNF list without adding it to my read list.
Oh,
because I don't want it to be in my read books for the year.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah, I find that like anything beyond basic shit, I have to open Goodreads in a browser for. Like anything beyond just like updating progress and stuff, I can do that on the app. But like anything beyond that, I've got to get on the website to do it. Now that could be because I'm old, but
well, I think it doesn't have some of the functions don't work in the app.
in the
I
app,
think
no, I think
you can
you're
only
right.
do them on your computer. Like it pisses me off. I mean, I probably should try like Storygraph or one of the other things people are going to. But I'm just like, Amazon owns Goodreads. They have the money.
They have
They
the
should have the
resources.
money and the resources
Right.
to make it a good website, and they don't.
Yeah.
They
Pull your head
just
out of
don't
your
fucking
ass.
care. I'm like, then sell it to someone who does.
Yeah,
Come
no
on.
kidding. Your shit together. They will only rate books if they get more than halfway through. That's solid, I think.
Yeah.
It makes
I
sense.
still don't read a book. I don't rate it if I haven't finished it. It's because I'm like, I've read books where like the ending was amazing or was terrible.
Yeah, same.
So I still am just like, I don't feel like I can really give it an accurate rating if I haven't finished it. But, you know, if you're over halfway through,
I can see
I
that.
feel like that's a little more justified. But yeah, sometimes I see people that are like 1 star, DNF'd, 30% in. And I'm like,
it's like I don't feel like I could rate. I read 25% of The Only Good Indians, and I don't feel like based on what I read, I could give it a good rating because I read a quarter of the book. So like I don't think that would be fair of me to rate it.
Right. Yeah, but like a good example is like the book I just recently read, The Book of Help by Megan Griswold. If I rated it just based on the first half of that book, I probably would have given it like 2 stars. But the second half was better.
Right. Or like all those Emma Newman books that you read. You hate read kind of.
That I hate read because I need to know what happens. But I don't actually like the books that much. Yeah, Jocelyn said they rated a nonfiction about Indigenous Americans that they DNF'd because it was hella offensive. Yeah, I could see that more for nonfiction, where it's like, there's not a character arc there. It's just offensive. Yeah,
I could totally see that. So one thing I did, so I was gonna put off reading. So I've read all of Octavia Butler's works, with the exception of Unexpected Stories, which is 2 short stories that were published posthumously. And I was gonna wait to read it because once I read it, I read everything. I'm done. I read it this month because I needed it. Like I needed it. And I gave it 5 stars. And I actually ended up counting it for Rita predicted 5-star read because I think anything about Katie Butler is going to be but
I still have a fair amount of her stuff to read. I savor my authors that I love a little more. A little bit more, I think. But I just need to finish the Patternist series. I've only read 1 book in that series, and I need to finish that, including Survivor, and then I need to read Unexpected Stories, and that's it.
But I will reread her. Like she's one of the few authors that I will reread. So I want to go back and reread the Lilith Brood series just so I can re-experience that magnificence.
Yeah, that's so far been my favorite thing I've read by her. But it wasn't the first thing I read by her because I did read Kindred first, but I read it in college. So there was a long gap between me reading Kindred and then me picking up more of her stuff. And so I always feel like with authors you love, a lot of times the first thing you read by them is your favorite.
That's your favorite thing.
And like maybe it's just work, or maybe it's because I read it for a class in college, which I think is a little bit different of an experience than just picking something up and reading it on your own.
Right.
But yeah, Lilith Brood has always been my favorite.
It's so fucking good. I'm really torn between that series and then the Parable duology for my favorite. Like
the Parable duology is probably my second favorite.
I'm such a sucker for a dystopian novel. Like I am such a little bitch for a dystopian novel.
Well, I mean, Little Spruit is also, I could call that dystopian.
Yeah, that's true. You could. Also, like tentacle sex. So
I'm a sucker for tentacles. um,
Mindy just read Kindred in January. It was amazing. I'm glad you loved it.
yeah, it's great. And it's definitely like, I mean, it's the most normal
Yeah.
of her books.
Yeah.
I would say like the most, because it's really, I mean, it gets called sci-fi because there's time travel, but I would say it's more like historical fiction.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, I would say that's probably the most normal, and then the parables are the next most normal because it's post-apocalyptic or it's dystopian. It's not really post-apocalyptic, but
there's no aliens or vampires or anything.
There's
magical
no
beings at all.
Right. It's just normal shitty people and some good people.
Yeah. But I love, yeah, I mean, we could go on and on about Octavia Butler. I was gonna say I love that like her characters, even the main characters that you do like and you sympathize with, aren't perfect. Like sometimes they do things that
you're like, what the
not
fuck?
Great.
Yeah, I think Lauren Alamina is a really good example of that because like I love her. She's boss. Like she's a big badass, but also she does some things in the books where I'm like, what? Why are you doing that? But I still like she's a really awesome character. So yeah, she's a really good example of that, I think.
Mindy started with Dawn and adulthood, right? So you went straight to the weird stuff.
I appreciate that about you. I said that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I was just thinking. I also read Bloodchild in college for that same class. We had to read in my women's lit class. We read Kindred and Bloodchild, the short story. So I guess I read some of her weird stuff in college too.
Yeah, because Bloodchild has some weird shit in it.
Oh
yeah. I would go back and read that too. Honestly, I'd reread all of her stuff.
Yeah, I would too. I'm sure I will someday. Oh, you know what else I need to read is I need to read the graphic novel version of Parable of the Sower too. And I think they're doing Parable of the Talents as well.
I think so. I think they're working on that, which is cool. The graphic novel adaptation is really good. I like that. They're doing that.
Yeah. Well, did you talk about all your books?
No, I also read the last one for the challenge is challenge 18. Read a book with a one-word title. I read Mediocre by Ijoma Oluo, and I loved it. It was so great. It also like just made me rage. Oh, bye now.
Thank you for joining us. Hi, Curly Bugs.
Hello.
Bloodchild was awesome. The last books I have by her to read are the Parable books. Yeah. Also, in like current times, kind of.
I think
kind of rough.
Yeah, I think that's like what makes them because like they're brilliant and like poignant anyway, but like the fact that they're so like parallel to current events is like makes them more powerful to read, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to finish. I want to finish the Patternist series this year. So I might try to work that into my lunch. I didn't do that. I was read all my books with numbers in the title, and already I'm like, I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I don't know about that.
So far I haven't read any of them. So oops.
Yeah, I was looking at my Read a Rainbow challenge. So I was like looking at bookshelves and I'm like, well, how many books of this color do I have? And this, and purple books.
I know books are hard. That's why I decided to read Wuthering Heights, is because it has a purple spine. My edition of it does anyway, which is like a shitty mass market paperback Scholastic books.
Whatever, man.
Version, but
purple.
Yeah, but I realized that too when I was doing some Instagram challenge, and one of the challenges was to post a stack of purple books, and I was like, I don't have hardly any. Like Toni Morrison Loves purple books. Several of hers are purple.
Mm-hmm.
And that was about it. I was like,
Yeah.
why doesn't anybody make purple books?
Weird. I think my copy of The Picture of Dorian Gray is purple. But other
Yeah.
than that, like I don't have a lot of options to choose from for purple books.
Yeah. I had to wait for Trump to leave before I could take
Fair.
them on. Yeah. I get that.
Casey reads mostly horror, so the Rainbow Challenge is gonna be hard. Yeah, lots of black books probably, I'm guessing, and red.
Red.
Yeah.
Do like a murder scene challenge instead. Read books that look like a murder scene.
Yeah.
Nobody does purple books. It's my favorite color.
It's rough. I don't know what's up with the purple books, but yeah. I was staring at my bookshelves and like, what the fuck? I think the most common color would be like black and white on my shelves.
Yeah.
A lot of black and white books.
For sure.
Yeah,
I have a lot of like yellow, strangely enough.
Yeah, yellow books are really common. I wonder if it's because that color like jumps out.
I'm sure it has something to do with, what people are more likely to pick up.
Right, what their eyes are drawn to or whatever. I'm sure there's some kind of like marketing ploy.
But I feel like there's a lot of blue books, which you'd think would
Also
be similar to purple.
Purple's a cool color.
Yeah. I don't know. We were overthinking it.
Overthinking it.
Watch Purple Books will be the new cover.
I hope so.
You heard it here first.
We're trendsetters. Curly Books ended up reading the UK version of Zone 1, which is purple. What did you think of Zone 1, by the by? I dig that book.
I need to tinkle. Hold down the fort.
I will. I will awkwardly hold down the fort. Because that's the only way I know how. Well, they had a lot of T words today. Does it smell like sulfur or garbage? If it's garbage, it's Murphy. I hate that I know that, but that's how we roll here. So yeah, I didn't read a lot of the books that I set out to read on my TBR, but I did read 5, so that's pleasant. Oh, Curly Books liked the story in Zone 1, but thought the writing was tedious and pretentious. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting because I feel like Colson Whitehead wrote a zombie novel with like real flowery language, which was weird to me because most zombie novels are not that way. So I liked it. I think Colson Whitehead's a good writer, but yeah, like the writing style was strange. Also, it took place over like 3 days. So that's a lot to write about, kind of a short time span, but it was kind of zombie novel than what I was used to for sure. It was, yes, I agree with you. Yeah, it was a choice. It was interesting. I don't know. It definitely wasn't really what I want when I go to a zombie novel, because what I want is like gross absurdity, but it was a choice. Would you give me a LaCroix? Because I'm a hipper now. Thank you. A LaCroix. I'm having my soul beer because I had my second dose of the anti-Rona vaccine yesterday, and I am having some side effects, so like I don't feel awesome. So I feel like putting alcohol on top of that is probably not a good decision. But yeah, like still not complaining because I'm very grateful to have gotten the vaccine, and also like would definitely do that again. But I think something like 50% of people experience side effects with a second dose, and they're more pronounced if you're younger because you have a more robust immune system. So
yeah, yours wasn't too bad though, was it?
No, I've had body aches and chills all day, but they've been pretty minor. I haven't run a fever yet. Yeah, body aches and chills were really my 2 big side effect symptoms. Of course, like my arm hurt, but
Yeah. I probably missed the conversation about Zone 1.
Yeah, we were just talking about how Colson White had made a decision about the writing style.
Yeah, I agree. I wasn't super into the writing style.
Yeah.
And we both read Underground, what was it called? Underground Railroad?
Yeah.
And then I liked that one a lot more. I feel like the writing in that one was much more accessible, I guess. Might be the word for it. Like
less flowery. Yeah, I think so too. And I also think like there was a weird element of that where he included like an actual railroad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a little bit of like a fantasy element.
Mm-hmm. And it was just kind of like, it didn't really feel like it fit there. I don't know. It felt a little out of place for me, but I liked it though. I liked it better than Zone 1.
Hi, KT Medic.
Hello. Welcome. Jocelyn's friend who's a nurse also had some side effects with the second dose. And Curly Book said after their second dose, they also had fatigue and body aches. Yeah, I agree with you. Super happy to be able to get the vaccine. Like very grateful for that. But
I put myself on the waiting list, but Missouri's like at the bottom. I think we're like, at one point we were dead last for COVID vaccine distribution. I think maybe we're not dead last anymore, but we're close.
Yeah. Oh, my VP, our governor was real offended.
Yeah.
Something about us being last. We are though, but we are in a lot of ways, buddy.
He's the worst.
He's pretty terrible. Mindy is getting her shot next week. That's awesome.
Mindy, you're a teacher, right? Correct. In that.
Here in Missouri, teachers still don't have access to the vaccine.
Teachers don't have access to it.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of you guys are have gotten it or are getting it, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
You probably don't live in Missouri.
Probably don't live there. My grandparents who live in Michigan were able to do this week, so I was really happy about that.
Yeah. I have not read the Nickel Boys.
I have not either.
Zone 1 and Underground Railroad are the only two close to my head books that I've read.
Same.
Mindy's a paraprofessional. That's awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
Slow going in North Carolina. I don't know if my parents even put themselves on the list or anything. I don't know if they would. My dad has very high anxiety. So I feel like, but he's also very anxious about getting COVID. So I don't know which one he would be more anxious
about. I know, my stepdad is like super, super high risk.
Also, I'm not sure how old you have to be. You have to be 65 or something, because I don't know.
In Missouri, it was 80.
Oh,
in
shit.
Missouri, and they have different. There's like 10 different tiers in Missouri, and like some of them are like 80 and like 80 and super obese, and like there's a lot of different qualifications that like really don't make sense to me, but whatever.
Yeah.
ET Medic is a paramedic and lives in Missouri, so that's cool. Also, like, thank you for what you do. That's boss. I was literally just talking to my partner about paramedics because at one time I had considered going to school for that because one of my nurse friends was like, "You'd be a great nurse," and I was like, "I don't know about a nurse, but
I feel like that'd be very difficult."
Yeah, job. Well, and also they don't
being a paramedic and a nurse.
Yeah, well, they don't make nearly what they should make. Like I was looking up like salary stuff, and like they should be paid way higher than they're paid. It's like offensive to me that they don't make as much as they should. Yeah. Like they're literally running out into an emergency to save lives, and they make less than I do. Yeah, that's a lot less than I do, which is stupid because I don't make that much. But yeah,
yeah, I was like reluctant to put myself on the wait list just because like I know there's tons of higher risk people than me. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I guess if I can get it, I should. Although, like I said, I'm just on the wait list, so who knows? It could be months and months before.
No, I think if you can get it, you should. Especially because I feel like there's going to be so many people who just aren't going to get it regardless. So, like, there's not, I don't think, going to be people who want it who ultimately can't get it. You just might have to wait a long time for it. Pause here.
not sure the teachers in Iowa can get them yet, and our governor today just announced that she's lifting all COVID restrictions in time for the Super Bowl.
Because football's important.
Hey, I don't think Missouri's ever had. Have we ever had like statewide restrictions, or has it been city by city?
City by city.
It's been city by city.
Yeah,
Yeah, because like Springfield, where we live, has had some restrictions in place. Probably not as many as we should, but we've had restrictions. But like the rural areas haven't at all. So there for a while, the hospitals were full of people from rural areas who came to Springfield to the hospital because they weren't wearing masks, they weren't social distancing, they weren't doing anything out there.
Well, and that was why people were so pissed off that our governor wouldn't enact statewide restrictions, because most of our we have like 3 major urban areas, and most of the outlying rural counties and cities rely on those major urban areas for their healthcare. So like Springfield, for example, there's a lot of surrounding areas that don't have ICUs in their hospitals or don't have enough.
Yeah.
So they had to come to Springfield for their care, which would put a burden on our healthcare system. So like, that's why people were so pissed off at our governor, because it's like, hey, you spineless Republican, maybe do something, but whatever.
For last decade, 2011 to 2020. Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that'll work.
New Hampshire has huge vaccine issues. We're the only state without a vaccine registry.
Oh, geez. Some of this stuff is so bonkers.
Yeah. Like, get your shit together.
God. Well, I had like a big learning experience, because back in, it was like May or June, I think. I had, for my job, I had an assignment to call various health departments in the states in which we have treatment centers and ask them about their contact tracing efforts and like what they do and what they would consider prolonged exposure, blah, blah, blah. Every single state told me something different. Every state I talked to told me something different. And this is like the fucking health department. And some of them were like, yeah, we're not doing contact tracing. And I was like, wait, what? So yesterday we had a clinic, and I had to call their health department and talk, and it was a very interesting experience for me. So
yeah,
it's bonkers. Live free or die state, New Hampshire. That's an interesting state motto. Missouri is a show me state, so we're showing everybody how not to handle COVID. Yeah.
There's apparently a bunch of people that want to change to the cave state.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. That's cool. I don't even know that Missouri has the most caves of any other state. We have a lot. We have a lot of limestone caves. In fact, if you've ever seen, what's that movie? Deep Impact?
Oh.
That's like their solution to hiding from the comet is to hide in the limestone caves of Missouri.
Guess we're gonna be all right.
If I'm remembering that movie correctly, it's been like,
that sounds great.
Probably a good 15 years.
Perfect. See, what I need to do is set up my homestead where I can live self-sufficiently next to a cave. So that way, if any shit goes down, I can just scurry into the cave. My animals. Yeah.
I guess we do have a lot of Merrimack is down near like Rolla.
What's the one that's cave? Oh, wasn't there like one?
I don't know. There's one at Silver Dollar City that you can go in. Yeah.
Kate says Google says Tennessee has the most caves. Not surprising.
See, I think I Googled it once and was like, Missouri doesn't even have the most caves, but there's a bunch of people here who want our state nickname changed to the cave state.
It's like Michigan is the Great Lakes state, which is my home state where I'm from. But like Minnesota is like land of 1,000 lakes. Who the fuck? Are any of your lakes great? Minnesota. No.
What's Michigan?
The Great Lakes state.
The Great Lakes state. Okay.
Minnesota with their substandard lakes.
I'm drinking Winter Grind from Mother's Brewing, which is a local brewery here.
I'm drinking lime LaCroix because the aforementioned vaccine symptoms. So I'm trying not to pour booze on those.
Coveted release every year. My boyfriend went and got some. I didn't.
No hot slam. Excuse me. Also, excuse
me. Any other topics we want to cover?
Things you want to
Land of 10,000 Lakes.
Oh, okay. 10,000 Lakes. So they're even more
That's
ambitious.
more impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I know I did a report on Alaska in 4th grade.
Oh.
So I remember a lot of facts about Alaska, even though I've never been there.
Well,
and their nicknames are, they have two. One is the Last Frontier.
Right.
One is Land of the Midnight Sun.
I know space is the last.
Now,
I actually think the ocean is.
the ocean, yeah.
Have you seen those memes where it's like talking about how NASA's a bunch of bitches because they flee to space instead of exploring the ocean?
Yeah. Caves terrify me. I don't mind caves. They're a little scary.
I like caves, except for if they get so small that you have to like crawl.
Yeah.
I'm a little claustrophobic. I don't like being able to just like get out or move or whatever quickly if I feel like I need to. So like caves that have those kind of areas, I do not dig. But just sure.
Yeah.
Big open cave. I'm down for that.
Well, Curly Books we just talked about what we'd been reading, so if you want to chime in with what books
you've been reading,
you've read, either for if you got to read it or otherwise, if you're
dive right in.
The 2000s had so many cool cave horror movies. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I remember there being a lot of cave horror movies. The Descent.
I think I watched The Descent. Wasn't that the one where they had the like?
I haven't seen The Descent. I've heard it's really good though. I need to watch it.
It's been a long time since I've seen it. I thought it was the one that had like, I mean, they're not cave goblins, but they look like cave goblins. And I think what they were like humans who got trapped in there or something, and so they evolved. I could be making this up, like
just ruining the movie for me.
Oh no, it'll be fine. You'll still enjoy it. But I think they got really pale and like they can't see or whatever. I don't know. Am I remembering that wrong? Anybody who knows the movie The Descent, please correct me if I am incorrect. But yeah, like
anybody read that Jezebel article, the one ranting against book people?
Oh, I had not read that. Jocelyn. Oh, I would love to get petty. Petty is my default. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I need to watch The Descent. It sounds and looks pretty creepy.
It's creepy.
I do. Was this from the early 2000s? The remake of My Bloody Valentine? That's not. I guess it's a mine. They're in like the mining shaft. Got Jensen Ackles in it.
Well, sign me up.
It's a remake though. The original one. I don't remember when the original one came out, but.
I mean, you had me at Jensen Ackles. I'm about, under, in front of, on top of anything that has him in it, including me. Hopefully, me.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I was waiting to hear about this Jezebel article.
Yeah, I am down to clown about this. Like, let's get petty.
It had to have been on Twitter. I must have missed it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm surprised that I haven't seen it because I do go to Twitter when I want drama. Because there's always drama on Twitter. Sure. It's like dumb.
You also people post pictures of books on Insta and rate books on Goodreads and generally just like to talk about books.
What is their reasoning for that? Like, why are they bitching about it? Like, what's the point of their ire?
What books did you read, Curly? And
what was your fave? Now I have to tingle.
Like a useless article, yes. Yeah, sometimes I feel like people just write things to get a rise out of people. Like what's going to piss people off, and so people are going to read it. Yeah, I feel like I need to look up this article, but There's been a lot of bad takes on Twitter lately, I feel like. There was another one about writing, I remember, that went around saying that writing fan fiction makes you a worse writer and reading fan fiction makes you a worse writer. So I saw that one going around. Yeah, I have seen people accuse people of not actually reading the books they talk about on YouTube a lot, like other booktubers. But who knows? I truly cannot sum up how fucking stupid the article is. Here in these comments is definitely missed this article makes no sense.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I kind of feel like as long as people aren't hurting anyone, leave them alone. Like, let them, if you want to post about books on your Instagram, post about books on your Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
there are definitely dumber things people could be posting, like their lunch or something. Like, people post pictures of their food on Instagram. Like, who gives a fuck?
Guru Gossip. I've never been on that website, but it sounds awful. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I assume they're complaining about book people because there's literally nothing else in the world to worry about. Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
You got it. You nailed it. Yes. Oh, that hit me right in the funnies.
Yeah, you can link it.
Totally. Go ahead and link it so we can
read it and I'll be mad. I mean, they just write stuff that they know will make people mad because then more people will read it.
That's true. Like, people just like to be informative because they get some attention. The author was mad that classics are being dragged, and book people say reading ebooks and audiobooks is okay.
Oh, I might have seen something floating around Twitter about someone talking about reading classics. So I might have sort of seen people talking about that, but yeah, I mean, I like classics, but I also think that like a lot of them aren't really worth reading.
Yeah, like, yeah. You have to gain, other than the fact that, like, if you just enjoy classics, cool.
Right.
What do you have to gain from that?
Right.
From reading it?
Yeah, and there's so many people who like don't see themselves represented in classics because they were largely written by and about white men.
White dudes,
and
right.
Occasionally white women.
Right. So
why would they want to read that all the time?
Yeah, absolutely. Like that. I just don't understand. And also, what it sounds like is somebody super pretentious got their little ego hurt. Like, their little fragile ego got hurt because nobody's fawning over them for reading like fucking Jane Eyre or some shit. So they decided to write about it.
Follow Me to the Ground by Sue Rainsford, The Dreamers by Karen Walker, and Elsewhere by Rosita Borland. It was Elsewhere, about a woman who travels the world on her own for the last 30 years.
Damn.
Wow.
All right. That's cool.
That's a long time. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of any of those books.
No, I haven't either, but that memoir sounds really intriguing.
Yeah.
Katie Medic read Jane Eyre and just kind of meh. Yeah.
Yeah, I read it.
Boring.
That was another book that I had to read for that same women's lit class.
One of the classics that I liked more than some others. But I also I tend to dig like the horror classics.
Yeah.
Like, Frankenstein was good. Dracula's good.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the like white dude dick lit classics, I'm not real.
I like a lot of, I like stuff like, I liked Jane Eyre, and I like, well, I've only read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, but I really liked it. I like classics by women a lot. Because I love Edith Wharton too.
I haven't read any Edith Wharton. I'd like to.
Yeah, so I like a lot of that stuff, and stuff like The Awakening. I read that in college too, but in a different class. I can't remember which one. Maybe American Lit. She's American, right?
So. Yeah.
So, some classics are fine and interesting, but like let's reevaluate the canon.
Yeah, that's solid.
March of Mammoths or March Mystery Madness. I have not heard of March of Mammoths.
Mm-mm.
We weren't planning on doing March Mystery Madness. I don't read a lot of mystery.
I don't
It's
either.
not really my jam.
I have one cozy mystery that I own that I'd like to read, and honestly, I only bought it because it's called Decaffeinated Corpse.
Yeah.
And it's set in like a coffee shop, and I am ever decaffeinated. I'm sure I will be a corpse, but yeah, I was tickled. Frankenstein is the journey of white male privilege brought to life. Yeah, like that's solid. I have a friend who's reading it for the first time, and she has seen like the movie and stuff, like movie adaptations of it, multiple
Which
of
I
them.
think are pretty different from the
Super
book.
different. So she's reading it, and like it's blowing her mind how different it is. And she's like, "So wait, he made him and then just abandoned him?" And I was like, "Yeah, he did." And she's like, "That's fucked up."
I saw a great TikTok. I'm on TikTok now, or I don't post anything, but
Same. I'm a TikTok.
Sometimes a book TikTok will pop up for me on my For You page, and one was this song that the one TikToker did. It was like, "Hello, is this
You contacted me." That shit slaps. Yeah.
with Frankenstein?" Frankenstein's
I love that so much.
Frankenstein's monster. Like,
You contacted me.
It was really funny.
That song fucking slaps. That dude needs a record deal.
Yeah.
It's clever.
I would be surprised if he didn't have one.
He's doing shit with like Alison Brie and Jimmy Fallon. So yeah, I'm like, damn.
I'm doing March of the Mammoths. What is March of the Mammoths?
Someone tell us. Do tell.
Do you read things about ancient America?
Because I might be down for that. Read about some woolly mammoths.
Yeah. Worlds of Radiance. You read books over 800 pages.
Oh, damn.
I could read, I mean, on my TBR, I have The Once and Future King.
Yeah.
Which I think is technically 3 books, but I have it bound together. And it's over 800 pages, I believe.
I didn't realize that I don't have that many books that are chunky like that.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah, I was looking through my books. I'm like, I really just don't have that many chunky books.
I have a few. Because I have Infinite Jest. Who knows if I'll ever read that. And The Luminaries, which I think is a little over 800 pages long.
Mm-hmm.
That might be about it for books that long.
I don't think I have anything that long. I think probably my longest ones are those Connie Willis books.
Yeah, and those are only probably like 400 or 500 pages, right?
Yeah.
You don't like the chunkers.
Apparently not. Which makes sense because I have no attention span. But, I say that, but I will totally obsess over stuff. Like authors I love.
Yeah, because you'll read an author and like one book and then read their whole body of work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or like a series. If I like it, I'll read the entire series immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
Yeah. Yeah, Infinite Jest is over 1,000 pages.
You need a tissue. I have clean tissues in my pocket because I'm an old woman.
I think it's gonna go away.
Okay.
Sneeze blue balls.
Oh, I hate that feeling. Now we're talking about sneezing, and I kind of want to. I was out somewhere.
Supposedly, if you look at a light,
you're supposed to
stop it, right?
Like diagonally to a light, and it'll help you sneeze. That's what I always thought. I don't know.
The Count of Monte Cristo. I would like to reread. I don't know if you call it that. I read The Count of Monte Cristo in high school, but I did not realize at the time that I was reading the abridged version. So I would like to read the fully unabridged version, and I do actually own that too. So I guess that's another one. And it's like I think over 1,000 pages as well. But I loved the story, The Count of Monte Cristo. Like I loved the abridged version, and I also love the movie versions. So I would like to read The Whole Last Thing.
Whole last thing. I had it. I went through, I had a bunch of classics that I owned just because I thought I needed to own them.
Mhm.
And then I
really like Alexander Dumas. I really enjoyed The Three Musketeers too. And I was planning to read the sequel to that 20 years after this year. Dracula is like pretty good. I think the book is like not that great.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I feel like there's definitely better classic horror. Like Frankenstein, I think definitely stomps Dracula.
Yeah.
Like easily.
But like the character of Dracula is great. And all the what he's become. All these iterations.
Yeah.
I've never known anyone to regret reading The Count of Monte Cristo. Yeah, I really want to read the whole thing. Sam's their favorite. Shouldn't have got rid of it.
I shouldn't have got rid of it. Well, I still have it. It's just in a box that I have set aside to get rid of. So I could go snap and read it.
Yeah, I agree with Curly Book said that the second half was a total slog. And the first little bit of Dracula where that's like actually in this castle is so good.
Yeah.
And so homoerotic.
I kind of live for that. Yeah, no, I would agree. It's just not great.
Jewel read The Count of Monte Cristo a few times. The unabridged version. Yeah, I love a good revenge story too. I learned that about myself.
Yeah.
Love that sweet, sweet revenge.
I guess I kind of like that too. I like it like go bit like scary revenge. Like I'm not just gonna get revenge on you. I'm gonna get revenge on everything around you. Like burn your world down revenge. That kind of revenge stuff. Count of Monte Cristo, from what I understand, is that type of skill.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like just wreck everything revenge. Scorched earth policy.
Yeah. But I feel like I missed.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to see what.
Oh, okay. Circus of the Damned said they read Dracula, and it wasn't their favorite. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think when I read it, I gave it like 4 stars, but it was kind of just because now,
right?
And I love the character Dracula, but the book. I mean, honestly, it was probably more of a 3-star book.
Yeah, but I think it's like just the character, like the whole like Dracula vampire franchise thing that made me like it.
Yeah, and I really didn't. I didn't love how he wrote female characters, although Mina was probably the smartest character in the book. But like Van Helsing at one point says, "Oh, you think like a man." I mean, it was written in the 1800s.
My high school best friends, that made me think of this. My best friend in high school, who I'm still close with now, her dad used to tell us that all babies had penises, and if you were smart enough, you got to keep it. And so he used to tell us that we were both almost smart enough to keep ours. And that was like his highest compliment.
Gross.
Yeah, it was nasty.
Which is also, it's actually the opposite. Aren't all babies girls?
Yep.
First?
Yep.
Or at least don't have penises. I should say.
Yeah. Develop sex organs, but
the characters in Dracula drove me mad. Yeah, I would say the characters were not great. Okay, I feel like I missed what series we're talking. Is this from your name, Circus of the Damned? Maybe it's just a series. I don't know. Is the Dark Tower series? I've heard yes.
Nathan really liked it.
Yeah, our friend Nathan is currently reading it, and is really liking it.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to read the first book when I was like 14
Mm-hmm.
and thought it was super fucking boring. So I read like a quarter of it and I was like, this guy's just walking through the desert. Like, do something.
Still, I'm just never gonna let go of Under the Dome. I'm so betrayed.
So bitter.
I'm so bitter and I'm so betrayed because it was a good book. It was a good book.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending was like, I'm never gonna stop. I will die on this hill.
Anita Blake, Vampire Hunter series. Okay, didn't someone? No, that was Shadow Hunter. I was gonna say, didn't someone mention that earlier? But
no, Shadow Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read the Vampire Hunter series. Yeah, I haven't read much Stephen King. I've liked what I've read by him, but I haven't been like, a super stan or anything.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, there are books that he doesn't remember writing because he was like real coked out on them, and I think you can tell.
Yeah.
But also, my issue with him is largely the way he writes his endings because I feel like he invests a lot into the book, and then he gets to the ending, and he's like, "I'm tired of writing this. Let's wrap it up," and then just slaps an ending on it, and it blows. It blows. I'm gonna say it. Yeah, his dog's really cute. And also, if you follow him on social media, he's fun to follow.
Yeah.
But him for Under the Dome, I'm bitter.
Gunslinger is horrible, but I really enjoyed the rest of the series. Yeah, I feel like maybe I should give it another go. I don't know. But I've heard that like all his other books relate back to the Dark Tower series. Like there's something in it that relates back to like that world. Dracula and Frankenstein fueled my love for horror.
That's awesome. Very, very cool.
Oh, that's cool. Kids section of the library when I was 6. Interesting. I didn't really get in. I guess I kind of started getting into horror in like 5th grade. But I didn't really.
You have bigger balls when it comes to horror than I do.
Yeah, I don't get scared easily by books or movies.
I have a real love-hate relationship with horror in that I love it, but it terrifies me. Like some of it does. Like, and some of it I can't really explain why, because like some of the stuff that is like scared the pants off of me is not scary.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Sleep, for example. I watched that movie because Ewan McGregor's a treasure. Another hill I'll die on. But so I watched it and it got in my fucking head, dude. Like I couldn't sleep for 2 days.
Really?
It wasn't that scary. It wasn't
Dr. Sleep.
Well, they fucked that up. Dr. Insomnia. Just fuck that. But I love horror. It just like some of it really fucks with me. I also don't like shock horror. And I don't like super, super gory horror unless it's campy.
Yeah.
If it's campy, I love it. If it's like meant to be serious and it's like gross,
yeah. I'm kind of the same. Always disappointed by the ending of a King novel. I've read
cheers to that.
I've read Carrie, Misery, and Firestarter. And I didn't hate the ending of it. I didn't understand the ending of Misery. Like I felt like it had a perfectly fine ending and then it got weird. I was like, huh? But like the other two I thought were fine. But that's my only King experience. I've also read a short story or two by him. Just in other collections. Where's my absolute favorite? Where's Mindy's favorite genre too?
That's a horror fan.
Yeah, nice. I want to read more horror because I feel like I used to read more and then kind of got more into sci-fi, which I still love sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
Which again is kind of one of those where there's a lot of crossover sometimes.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree with that. I'd like to read more horror by female authors because I think like maybe not so much now as there used to be, but I think men who write horror write in a lot of like shitty stuff about women to further the story, and like the way that they write female characters is not awesome. But no, I do really love horror. I'd like to read more of it.
Yeah.
Bird Box fucked me up, like that book. And I didn't realize that it did because I'm reading it. And I'm like, yeah, and I'm like into it. And then when I got done with it, I like woke up the next morning and it was still dark outside, and I wouldn't look out the windows. Like it fucked me up.
Yeah. Leanna's favorite King novel is The Body. I don't even know that one.
I don't know that one either.
Pet Cemetery. I've never tried to read Pet Cemetery, but I did fall asleep during the movie. The original movie I tried to watch like in school or something, and I fell asleep. And then I watched the remake in theaters, so I didn't fall asleep, but
I fell asleep.
It was kind of boring for most of it.
I fell asleep during Dreamcatcher in the movie theater.
Oh, Dreamcatcher's the worst. I didn't watch that in theaters, but I remember watching it. That movie was so stupid.
Oh my god. So bad.
It's like lands in the toilet.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell are you even talking about here?
Someone said they had to stop reading serial killer books in high school. Oh, the chat's going too fast. I don't know what's happening. I love Dragon was my no-go book. I just recently, I read Red Dragon last. Me more than fiction ever does.
Same.
Like that's scarier to me. And also like, I think I've talked about this before, but there's something about true crime that's just feels icky to me. Like it feels like exploitative. And I think it can be done well, but I think it often isn't. And especially like recently when it's become so popular.
Yeah, it's like super exploitative.
Like it can be really. And I just feel like because I can get into it. Like I'm watching it, like, yeah, I get invested and I get into it. I understand why people enjoy it. But then I always just, I don't know, I just feel icky that I was like peering into these people's trauma.
And I feel like you're being a voyeur of other people's pain, you know? Like,
yeah.
I'll do that.
The series had so much potential. I don't know what series. I forgot what series we're talking about. The
Southern Reach trilogy. Okay. I agree. I felt like that was. I kind of agree. Like I
remember you really liked the first book, and then the next two you were like, eh.
Yeah. That's kind of how the first book I set it up really well, and I felt like also that movie they made a movie with Natalie Portman in it, and she's also a treasure, and that's another hill of I but
I don't think anyone's arguing with you on these.
They're not. I'm just making it very clear that I have strong opinions.
Okay.
I have strong opinions. The movie sucked.
Really?
It was so dumb. It's dumb.
I get confused when I'm scrolling and I'm like, I liked Christine.
Okay.
I haven't read that one or seen the movie.
With horror, yeah.
Not guess that by your
name.
Screaming.
Yeah. But no, I love it, but I'm also a big baby. Horror with sci-fi elements is agree to the book, but not
February is Women in Horror Month.
That's awesome. Maybe that's what I should make my reading about this month now.
Yeah. I need to read The Shining because I own that book.
Oof, yeah, the Dr. Sleep took all the fear out of the bathtub lady. See, it didn't do that for me because at the end, you know how like the kid goes in there to confront bathtub lady? Every time I went to the bathroom for 2 days after that, I was expecting her to be there. So like, I hear what you're saying. And yes, that scene with the baseball kid was pure trauma. Wholeheartedly agree. But yeah, for me, nope, I was convinced the bathtub lady was going to be there every time I had to pee. So had to. Oh, okay.
I haven't seen that movie since I was a child.
Same. Yeah, same. Love this Haley Piper Gemma and more.
Laurel Hightower.
I'm gonna write those down.
Every time I click down, it goes too far.
Yeah, it's
okay.
Volleyball.
Ray Bradbury. I need to read more Ray Bradbury too. I've only read like 2 books. I
took an English class in high school. It was like a creative writing class or something, or I don't remember what it was, but my teacher loved Ray Bradbury, so he had us read a shit ton of Ray Bradbury, which was cool.
Maggie Spaghetti. Hello, Maggie.
Hello, Maggie.
I love horror movies that I haven't found to go to. Nana do. No, I'm trying to think if I have like an author. I mean, I love Shirley Jackson for like subtle atmospheric horror. Other than that, I feel like I've just read I have like books I could recommend, but maybe not a
go-to author. Whole ass author.
Yeah.
Do is really my only like whole ass author I've got.
Yeah. I need to check out William Hightower.
Yeah, for sure.
Haley Piper, Gemma Moore, Cynthia.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna look into those for sure.
Yeah, I need to read The Illustrated Man. That's been on my shelf for a very long time. Our connection's unstable again.
Yet. Jocelyn loved the Dr. Sleep movie. Yeah, it was good, but fuck me up.
We're at the end of the chat now. Or maybe it might just not be connected.
What? There's some more horror wrecks.
Susan Hill. I read a Susan Hill book. The Mirror, something about him, and got into it, to be honest. But I've heard that her other books are better. I think she wrote The Woman in Black. That I think is one a lot of people like. Correct me if I'm wrong. Super creepy Smart House.
Oh, Disney throwback. Yeah, did you see that movie? It was I think it was a made-for-TV Disney movie. Maybe not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was called Smart House. And basically, the Smart House was sentient or became sentient and wanted to take over.
I thought there was a horror movie about that. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. But I remember I relate everything to The Simpsons. But there was a Treehouse of Horror episode of The Simpsons that was a spoof of maybe that or something like that, where the house they had like a smart house and it became sentient and
took over,
fell in love with Marge and was trying to off Homer.
Oh shit!
And the house was voiced by Pierce Brosnan.
I kind of love that. This was I feel like didn't it have the lady who was in Married with Children in it? The Disney movie Smart House.
I didn't watch any Disney movies really because I didn't have the Disney Channel.
I gotta look.
All I can think of is Peg Bundy. What's her real name?
Yeah, that's what I don't know who it is.
I should know her real name.
It was made in 1999, and it is Peg Bundy, I believe. Yeah, Katie Sagal.
Katie Sagal,
yeah. Like PG Black Mirror. Oh, yeah, watch Black Mirror. I love it. Love it. It's terrifying. I also found on Amazon Prime and on Prime Video, there's a series. It's like Philip K. Dick's.
The title was like
something. It was a play on that. Yeah, but I don't remember. But it's also it's sci-fi stories. Each episode is like self-contained, it's standalone, so you can just watch one or two at a time and not get invested in like a whole ass thing. But it has cameos from like well-known actors in the episodes, and that dude from Midsummer, the one that is the shitty boyfriend in Midsummer, he was in one episode.
I haven't. If you haven't noticed, I don't watch a lot of movies, and when I do, I usually watch bad ones.
I love stupid horror movies. Like my partner and I now have a tradition where every Christmas Eve we watch a shitty horror movie and have a fire in my fireplace and like eat dinner together and stuff. So that's like our holiday tradition. So this past year we watched Krampus, which was fun. We had very different takes on the ending though. So y'all have seen Krampus. My boyfriend interpreted the ending very differently than I did. His take was much lighthearted.
Oh.
Mine was dark. I went dark. So
Yeah. I need to watch that. I've heard it's pretty fun.
it's really fun. I enjoyed it. It was super fun. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just don't like, I don't ever have much of a desire to watch movies in general. No, I think it just was never like, I didn't have the ability to watch a lot of movies as a kid, so it's not like something it's not nostalgic for me. I didn't like grow to love them. Yeah, I'll have another. So I never like cared about them that much, but of course I still enjoy movies. I still watch. And there are movies I love. As you said, they're with you on the dark ending.
thank you. Because the last time I went to see him, he was like doing my tattoo and shit too. And I was explaining to him my boyfriend's take on Krampus and my take on Krampus. And he was like, oh yeah, no, it was totally dark. And I was like, thank you. But that's someone who stabs someone for a living, so I don't know.
Have you seen Titanic 2?
No.
I did not know there was a Titanic 2.
Or I, but I'm so intrigued now.
I've seen Titanic 1.
Yeah.
Many, many years ago.
Many moons ago. How awkward though. Like I think we were at the age we would have been watching it with our parents, probably.
Yeah. I don't think I watched mine with my parents because like as much as I don't care about movies, my parents care even less.
Well, that drama
my
with one
parents.
of the girls
Yeah.
and also like the sex in a car scene. Real weird to watch with your parents.
I remember going when I was a kid, going over to my neighbor's house and we watched Forrest Gump.
Oh,
I stood in front of
don't look.
his daughter was like a year younger than me.
Oh God.
So we were watching Forrest Gump and he like stood in front of the TV during the sex scene. Was like, nope.
Nope. Yeah, super weird.
So bad.
I don't want to watch it like that. If anyone tells me like this movie is terrible, I'm like, well, I don't watch it now.
Yeah, I like to watch. There's a couple people. I'm sure there's more than a couple, but there's two people in particular I like to watch on YouTube who they'll watch bad movies and then do their makeup while they talk about how bad the movies were. And one of them is Kenny JD is her channel name, and she calls it Bad Movies in a Beat. And then the other one is Jamie French.
Okay. I like Jamie French a lot.
But they're pretty entertaining.
How do you even have a Titanic 2 the show?
I know. That's kind of what I was thinking.
Well, they did it. They somehow did it.
Maybe they like go deep dive down into the wreckage.
Yeah. What if
there's like horrors below
in the deep? What if the Titanic a ghost ship, but like under the ocean? Like they dive down
Ghost Ship.
and they find people.
Movie?
No.
Ghost Ship is not a great movie, but that opening scene, man. Ooh.
Is it creepy?
It's epic.
Oh, I don't want to watch that.
I mean, it's probably not, feasible to happen in real life,
but
it's pretty cool.
It's in a movie called Ghost Ship, so feasibility here. Yeah, like what if you dove down to the Titanic and they weren't expecting you, and you snuck up on them, and it was just like ghost people chilling aboard the Titanic, like living life like normal, and it was just a ghost ship, and you're
that'd be a cool movie.
Yeah.
I'm listening to Shit Actually by there's some funny takes on the movies. Titanic was one of them. Yeah.
I want to check that out too.
That would be a great opening scene. Yeah. I assume you're talking about Ghost Ship. Yeah.
I really want to watch that now. I like to get my boyfriend to watch terrible movies with me because
you should try Ghost Ship.
It's
pretty good. Just like brace yourself for that opening, man.
I'm ready. I also want to watch The Mist for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Is that that's the Fog, isn't it? What?
Oh God. Yeah, I like horror movies that are kind of ridiculous and definitely ghosty horror movies. I can't watch torture scenes. I won't
Yeah.
and I can't.
Don't watch Saw.
No, I've seen Saw and I hated it. I cried.
Really?
I cried during that whole movie. I can't watch people
I
get tortured.
loved the first Saw movie. I'll admit, I watched it in high school. I know everyone shits on Saw now, but I watched it in high school and it blew my mind. Like I jumped out of my seat and screamed
Really?
at the ending, which I was in my
Which
house.
is fair.
I wasn't in a theater, otherwise I wouldn't have done that.
Right.
But I was like, oh my God. Like
That's fair.
it blew my mind.
I cried the entire
I don't
time.
think I ever watched the last couple ones.
I think I watched the first one, I think with my like high school boyfriend, and then I think we tried to watch like the next couple, and I slept during them because I was like, I don't want to see this. This is very sad. So yeah, I'm too soft. Too soft for
It's
Saw.
a great horror movie set at sea. I haven't seen that one.
No.
Idle Hands. Haven't seen that one either.
Nope. I was gonna say, have y'all read? I think it's The Deep by Mira Grant. It's about mermaids that eat people. Like they go out to the Mariana Trench and fuck around and find out. Every time I say it, I just like
deep in the Mariana Trench.
Why? Yeah, every time.
I can't do torture porn horror. Hard no.
Nope, can't do it.
I don't really like it either for the most part. But Saw just really fucked me up, like in a good way. I was like, holy shit.
And it was a clever premise for sure. Like I would definitely give them that. But like, yeah, I sobbed the whole time. I cannot do it. Cannot do it.
Long as about ghost pirates, The Mist is about monsters. What am I thinking of the one where it's like their faces are like blue and red? Is that something totally different? I don't know.
Oh, Casey DNF'd the Murder Mermaids. Oh no, why did you DNF the Murder Mermaids? I need to hear it. I really like that book. Mermaid. Everything comes back to Death Clock, man. It's a full circle. It's a circle of life.
Circle of Death.
Circle of Death Clock.
Oh man, Circle of Death. That takes me back.
Oh God. That takes me back to so much more. No.
Y'all ever played Circle of Death?
Is that a thing
where you are? I think they call it different things. Like I think I've heard it called Ring of Fire.
I've heard it called Ring of Fire. Yeah. No, we used to play that when we were younger, and much more irresponsible, but no, thank you. Oh, so much like fruity vodka drink.
Oh, I was drinking like Bud Light.
Oh, I was drinking fruity vodka drinks for those.
There's a problem right there. Have you seen Hereditary? No, but I've heard it's very creepy.
I really want to watch it, but I have chickened out of watching it like 2 or 3 times. I need to watch it with somebody during the daytime.
No, it's not Insidious. This is like a classic horror that I'm thinking of, but I cannot remember. It's not The Fog. I feel like it has a name like similar to something like that.
Casey was listening to it in audiobook and couldn't stand the characters and kept yelling at their stupid decisions. No, that's solid. That's fair. They definitely made like classic faux pas, horror faux pas, I would say. Also, like, my thing is, so you sent one expedition to the Mariana Trench, and that got fucked up. Like, they didn't have a good time. And then your solution to that is to send another expedition to the Mariana Trench. Because that's a great idea? No. They fucked around and found out. Was not good.
No, I can't find this movie. I could be way off on what the title is, but I know it's like a classic horror movie where like people. I haven't seen it, so that's part of the problem is I don't know what I'm describing. But I think it's something where like people get turned into these. I think it has something to do with like the media and how I don't know.
Well,
If anyone knows what it is based on my very vague description,
Help us
please let me know.
help us out. Hereditary, bummed that it went witchy demon. Thought the mental health and the supernatural elements. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I feel like I'm way more into like that kind of horror where it's like psychological type horror. I loved Midsummer for that reason because it's just all about the human horrors that lead someone to the point where they would be okay with, I'm trying like not to completely ruin it. It's like the psychological stuff that would have to happen to somebody to make them okay with like joining a cult. And then also it's very like revenge porny. So that makes me happy. But yeah, that one and just like the collective psychosis or like collective crazy that happens in that film. Like, yeah, Midsummer was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I need to start. I want to watch more horror movies, but part of my problem is like I don't really have anyone to watch them with, and I just feel like horror movies are more fun to watch with someone.
I would watch them with you if you don't make fun of me.
And watch movies.
I watch most horror movies like this, and while I'm being Murphy. So if you don't make fun of me, I would definitely watch it.
Well, that's like Whitney. Anytime, because like Whitney's like a horror fiend, but yeah, we'd watch movies and she'd be like, "Turn it on, turn it on."
Oh, I don't want it to be turned off. I just want to watch my fingers and hold my dog in front of me.
Yeah.
So I will watch it, but yeah.
It's driving me nuts that I can't think what this movie is called.
But Hereditary felt like a family drama with 20 minutes of horror tacked on the end. That's interesting. And Maggie Spaghetti said, especially that last half of Midsummer, holy shit. Yeah, like, yes. It starts out, and I think that's what's so creepy about it, because it starts out like, I mean, obviously that really horrific thing happens in the beginning, but like, as far as the emotion of the story, you kind of get like eased in, and then all of a sudden at some point things like start to turn and get real fucked up real quick, and then that ending is just like bam. So yes. Ooh, the bear scene, I feel you. That bear scene, I was like probably not quite low-key cheering. I was probably more like high-key cheering when I was like, yes, I approve of this. Don't be a shit. That's the lesson. Don't be a shit.
I need to watch it. I did see someone talking about it, and they were like, it's the kind of movie where like I don't want to meet the person who wrote it.
That's fair, man. Like whoever created that is like living in a different creepy land.
Which I think also the same person that wrote that also wrote Hereditary. So it's a Smurf.
It feels very left out right now.
I'm still scrolling through trying to find this stupid movie that nobody cares about but me. But oh well.
It's not The Purge, is it? Because that
no.
I feel like they did.
This is from probably like the 80s or something. And it's not masks, it's like their actual faces are like this weird blue and red. Kind of looks like, you know, situation. The blue.
Come on. You can do it.
And I can never remember what the movie is called, but I always see it everywhere when people are posting about like classic horror, like, but I can never remember what it is.
Oh yeah, Midsummer made Leanna physically ill because they can't handle gore. No, that's solid. There's a couple like really grody scenes in it, and I'm gonna tell you that I watched them like this.
Hi, but
you should check out The Wicker Man. Midsummer was kind of the spiritual successor to it. Okay. All right. Oh, Casey said, was it They Live? The guy puts glasses on and can see.
That's it. Yeah.
Casey coming in clutch. Yeah.
I don't know why I got like the mist and the fog mixed up with that.
That's all. Have you guys seen
That's it. Yes, it's definitely They Live.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you guys seen The Happening? Because that's another
what I was trying to describe.
Oh no, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Happening was another just fucking dumb movie, but it was really entertaining. And it has Marky Mark in it, which
Yeah.
he's just fun to watch because
I haven't seen that movie, but Jamie French did do an episode of
so
her
bad.
watching bad movies and doing makeup where she talks about that movie, and it was really entertaining.
Oh my god. I had my boyfriend watched it with me, so we got on like a horror kick. I think it was around Halloween or something. We rented The Happening. We rent movies because we're old. The Happening, The Witch, and Midsummer. We rented, and yeah, they were.
I have seen The Witch.
That's like
It had a cheesy ending.
very cheesy, super, and it was a real slow burn. Like,
Yeah.
like at what point am I going to be, going to be scared or like freaked out or whatever?
I liked it, but then the ending was like just
Silly,
pretty cheesy. And also it was like, isn't she like 14 and she's like walking naked through the woods? I was like, this is a little creepy. 13 Ghosts. I haven't seen that since I was a teenager, but I need to rewatch it because I feel like it's become like a cult classic at this point.
I've never seen it.
Like a bad movie. I don't really remember it that well, but I know I've seen it.
Yeah, Murphy doesn't like horror films. I mean, he likes me watching horror films because then that means that he gets held a lot, but he gets held a lot anyway, so. Jocelyn said their siblings and them have been revisiting horror movies from the late 90s and early 2000s, like 13 Ghosts and Joyride, and it's been so fun.
Was Joyride the one where they're like, they are using a like CB radio and they call themselves Candy Cane? Because I always want to say Candy Cane.
Candy.
I think that was Joyride. That was silly, yeah. Yes, that movie actually creeped me the fuck out. But the like director, real creep in real life.
Oh yeah, but yeah, that ruined that song for me. They're like, Jeepers Creepers,
where'd you get those peepers?
Because they just played it all normal like at the end of the movie, and I was like,
yeah,
no.
And there was like this really broken down old house down the road from my parents, and there was a truck in the back of that house that looked just like the truck that guy drove in that movie, and
so creepy.
Like, the Scream movies are those are great movies.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah, I never watched the sequel. I know there's at least one sequel to Jeepers Creepers that I never watched. The first Jeepers Creepers movie, like that's legit.
It's creepy.
Maybe the only horror movie that's ever actually creeped me out.
Really?
Like that's actually frightened me. Like that one really skeeved me out for some reason.
Mine that actually terrified me, The Ring and The Grudge, both of those scared the bejesus off of me.
Yeah.
Especially, what one is it where she makes that fucking noise?
That's The Grudge. Because me and my two best friends in high school watched that together, and then we were all staying the night with each other. And I
hate that.
My mom was like, "Stop it!
Stop that noise! I know you're gonna do that." Creepiest fucking thing. Jesus Christ! And The Ring freaked me out because at the time, my dad had this like one of those old school big televisions where it was just like massive, like massive. It was like, I don't know. I don't remember how big it was. It was like 80 inches. It was a huge TV. Someone could have crawled out of it, is my point. And so when the room crawls out of the TV to like come up and fuck some shit up, terrified me. I was like, ah! And I turned it off really fast because it terrified the shit. I watched the rest of it, but it was horrifying.
Neither of those really got me. Hostel is pretty creepy.
That's torture-y though, isn't it? Yeah, I can't watch that shit.
Event Horizon didn't get me either. It might have been hyped up too much for me though, because Whitney was like, "Oh my god, Event Horizon is so good, you gotta watch it."
That's about.
And then I watched it and was like, Also, someone back me up on this. Is there not an episode of Doctor Who that's like a complete ripoff of Event Horizon? Like maybe they got permission to like recreate the story or something, but there's like I think it's like a 2-episode arc, and it's just It's just the movie Event Horizon.
That's pretty crazy. No, I don't know.
It's in space. It's a creepy space shuttle horror.
Alien is one of my favorite, like,
Yeah.
silly sci-fi
Mhm.
movies.
Yeah. My Jeremiah made me watch that because he knew how much aliens creep me out. But I wasn't that creeped out by it. Urban Legend. I've never seen Urban Legend.
Same. I have not seen that.
I remember my sister going to see it in theaters and it scared the shit out of her, but she's also very easily frightened by horror movies.
I'm a sissy lover. Buddy, can you get comfy? Do you want to come here? You're looking uncomfortable. Come here.
Sunshine. I haven't heard of that one, I don't think. Yes, there was a Doctor Who episode set in a black hole that opened the gate of hell. I never connected that. But it was even like the writing on the face, it was just like I felt like it was a direct copy
rip-off
of Event Horizon. But I don't know.
Same. Yeah, there's so many movies now.
What are you, my movies? Yeah, I need to check out Sunshine, I guess.
No bad.
I'm trying to think. I was watching some horror movies on Netflix recently, but now I can't even remember. I know I watched The Witch. I thought I watched a couple others. Now I don't even remember what they were. So I did watch a year or two ago. I finally watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I love that movie.
Which I absolutely love.
I adore that movie.
I fucking loved it. I love horror comedy.
It's so fun.
But that was like way better than I was expecting it to be. So it was
good.
like always if you go in with low expectations, it ends up being
It delivers. Yeah. My boyfriend recommended that movie to me and I was like, okay, so we watched it together and I loved it.
It's so funny.
And what was the one? The same people who did Hot Fuzz, they did one for zombies.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead, so funny, yeah, but also creep me out. Because zombies, I'm terrified of zombies. I love zombie stuff, and like I will read all the zombie novels, but I'm terrified. And then
I love Shaun of the Dead. I also loved Hot Fuzz, which I didn't really know. I mean, I guess I should have because it's like the same people from Shaun of the Dead. But for some reason, I thought, just based on the title, I thought it was going to be stupid.
Real dumb, yeah. But I
didn't even realize that it was horror until I watched it, and I was like,
oh. I love those.
And I love Serial Mom.
I have not seen that.
I think it's a John Waters movie. It's been a long time since I watched it, but it's like pretty funny. Kathleen Turner.
Oh, Kathleen Turner. Maggie would like us to kiss Murphy right between the eyes.
Aww.
I will do that. Everybody. He gets lots of kisses.
As above, so below. I'll have to check that one out. That's what you just did.
He just loves attention. So
yeah, I'm a sucker for like the 80s slashers. Halloween always had a special place in my heart. And Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, like all those. But yeah, I need to watch more like recent horror films because I feel like most of what I've seen is from like the 80s and 90s. Murphy, come here, buddy. You just can't get comfortable.
You know. He said putting all his weight on me because he thinks I'm going to put him down.
Oh. Yeah. Anyone watch Stay Alive? No. I have not. I'm trying to think of some of the other good 80s ones. Prom Night. I remember watching Prom Night. That had Leslie Nielsen in it. Like Leslie Nielsen used to be like a serious, and like a more serious actor.
Silly.
But I'm pretty sure Leslie Nielsen was in Prom Night. Is Freddy versus Jason a horror comedy? I don't know if it was meant, but
Right.
I feel like those like 80s slashers though, they kind of are. Like I feel
They
like
don't take themselves real seriously. Yeah.
Which I mean, Freddy versus Jason probably came out in the 90s or maybe even 2000s.
Yeah, I don't remember when that came out.
But you know. I also remember listening to this dance scene. I remember watching, I think there was one called April Fools and Sleepaway Camp.
I've heard of those.
Sleepaway Camp had the men's fashion in that movie. They're all in like crop tops and short shorts.
Can we bring back crop tops for men? Like, is that something we can formally request to like whoever decides what is fashionable? Because I'm about that life. Like, I want to see dudes walking in crop tops.
Yeah,
I think it'd be great.
same.
So if we could, I would like to make that in mesh. Yes.
I think you're just using to go to a gay bar.
As soon as this Rona shit is over, that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna hightail it to the nearest gay bar.
I think there's only one here, maybe.
Yeah. There used to be, I don't know if it's still open, but there used to be one off of National. It's by where that like, and it looks like a fucking closet of a bar. Like it looks like a dive. But I went to a drag show there once, and it was like super fun. Yeah, but I don't remember what the fuck it was called.
Yeah, there's been others pop up. Like there's one called Pop Up here and there, but I feel like none of them stay open that long.
Yeah, it's all the yeehaws probably. Lots of yeehaws.
All the yeehaws.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been over 2 hours. Maybe we should wrap up.
Maybe we should close her out.
This live show. But thanks everyone for coming and chatting with us. We really have fun doing these.
Yeah, these are fun.
So our next one will be the first Friday in March.
Which I think March is the same.
Yeah, I believe it's also the 5th.
Yes.
Blair Witch Project. I watched Blair Witch Project just a couple years ago for the first time, and I was pleasantly surprised.
I really liked it.
I really liked it. Yeah, but thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone for coming.
And we'll see you at the next live show, hopefully. If not, you know, in between on our videos we post.
Yeah, and on the social medias.
Yeah. Reading challenge.
Murphy also says goodbye, but also he's trying to go to sleep. So bye.